Damn it, SWTOR Central, you could have at least given me a key. I have no idea how to open this thing. Perhaps if I hit it at just the right angle. There we go. Nope, nothing.
What is all that racket? It's 5 AM in the morning.
Oh god, what's up with this thing? It's broken, I swear.
Lawrence, what are you doing?
Not now, Babertos. I'm trying to get this stupid holocron to open. SWTOR Central, he gave it to me. I can't work it out. It's driving me insane. Ugh, maybe if I just shoot it with a laser at a direct point of incision, I'd be able to cut it in half, and then maybe I could see what's inside, or maybe an ion cannon, I don't know.
Lawrence, you need the Force to open a holocron.
Babertos, I'm seriously considering killing you. Right now, I mean seriously. This was a gift from SWTOR Central in exchange for giving his channel back, and I want to see what's inside. He said it was something valuable, but I can't get it open.
Well, I don't know what you did, but it's opening now.
Wait, what do you mean? Whoa, something's happening.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I.
No, I rickrolled? What have I done? I have to stop this. Let's see if I can use my amazing ninja force skills to perhaps disable the device.
Lol 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 lol. LOL. He got you good, Lawrence, haha.
Damn it, SWTOR Central, you will rue this day! No! How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's LorOnline here again today with another top 10, and today we're going to be doing the top 10 Sith Lords in lore. As a quick disclaimer, I'm only going to be featuring characters from KOTOR, KOTOR 2 and Star Wars The Old Republic, so that does not mean anyone from the Ancient Republic era, for example Tulak Horde. Anyway, I hope you enjoy, and thank you for watching.
Starting with number 10.
Taking 10th spot on our list today is a Sith that is very well known in the Star Wars lore, purely because he is one of the original characters from SWTOR and is actually very prominent in the Sith Warrior campaign. This is of course Darth Baras. Darth Baras is notorious for being the master of deception. He of course in the Sith Warrior campaign spent a lot of his time trying to become the voice of the Emperor, and in order to do that he had his apprentice, also known as the Emperor's Wrath, go around and kill all his competition, for example Darth Vitiate. Darth Baras, though a very noble and well-respected Sith, was not actually considered to be very powerful as a duelist. He fared up well against the Teal Shan during a small conference they had on Alderaan, but ultimately Darth Baras was better known for his ability to persuade and manipulate others. For example, Darth Baras actually encouraged a peace treaty between the Sith Empire and the Jedi Order by going to Alderaan and discussing peaceful negotiations right after the sacking of Coruscant, which you can imagine is a bit odd. You'd think the Jedi Order would be a little bit more pissed at the Sith for going and destroying half of Coruscant, but ultimately Darth Baras was able to persuade them otherwise, and because of that he has made a very well-deserved place on this list.
Number 9.
Taking 9th spot on our list today is a Sith from the Dark Council, best known for his appearance in the Sith Inquisitor campaign. This Sith of course is Darth Thanaton. Darth Thanaton has earned 9th place on this list purely because he is a very traditional Sith. During the Old Republic era, many Sith were considered to be non-traditional and rebelled against their own Sith code. But Darth Thanaton, unlike others, stayed very traditional to his own values, and became a very selfish and self-absorbed Sith. Darth Thanaton, despite his slave upbringing, actually rose to power very quickly. Unlike most Sith, he was able to achieve the rank of Darth by the time other Sith of his exact rank achieved Apprentice. Darth Thanaton ultimately is number 9 on this list purely because he was able to deceive the entirety of the Dark Council until he was confronted by Darth Nox.
Number 8.
Coming in at number 8 today is one of my favourite Sith of all time. He is a member of the Dark Council and goes by the name of Darth Decimus. Now Darth Decimus hosted the invasion of Corellia during the Great Galactic War. Now during this huge conflict, he planned an attack that would allow the Empire to take control of the planet with minimal resistance. Not only was he successful at conquering Corellia, but he also managed to annihilate most of the Green Jedi that resided in the nearby Corellian Temple, which of course requires a huge amount of skill. For a singular Darth along with Darth Nox to actually destroy most of the Green Jedi in a single settlement requires a serious amount of skill, which is quite clearly why he has earned 8th place on this list. Furthermore, Darth Decimus actually has many interesting traits that make him a valuable asset to the Sith Empire. Not only was he considered to be a brilliant military strategist, but he was considered to be one of the most loyal of the Dark Council to the Sith Emperor. of course we know today as Vitiate. However, Darth Decimus did unfortunately meet his match against the protagonist of the Jedi Councilor campaign, as he was killed in the Speaker's Garden on Corellia, but still I feel he has retained a place on this list purely because he was the most strategically valuable asset to the Sith Empire.
Number 7.
Seventh on my list today is a Sith Lord that is beloved by almost the entirety of the SWTOR community, and of course is best known for never revealing his true face, and that is of course Darth Marr. Darth Marr, of course, is notorious for being one of the most badass Sith on the Council. Not only was he fully encased in a suit of battle armor that heightened his Force abilities and improved his battle sense, but ultimately he had the most down-to-earth personality out of anyone on the Dark Council. By this, of course, I mean Darth Marr did not necessarily cling to tradition. There were aspects of him where he, of course, preferred having this ancient dogma, but overall, Darth Marr is best known for changing the way the Empire thought. Of course, he allowed the anti-aliens philosophy to change and made it so that aliens could now become Sith in their ranks, which of course many disapproved of, but ultimately he improved the diversity in the Empire and made it so the Sith were much stronger in numbers. But the reason Darth Marr made this list is because ultimately he cared for the Empire and fought for the Empire rather than his own selfish reasons, which is definitely why he made number 7 on my list. Rest in peace, Darth Marr. You will be missed.
Number 6.
Sixth place on our list today goes to the well-known Sith Darth Malgus, who of course is featured on the front cover of SWTOR at launch and is one of the main antagonists throughout the game, and ultimately I feel he wasn't given much justice throughout SWTOR. He only appeared every now and again for the beginning of flashpoints and such, but overall Darth Malgus has a really intensive and actually very engaging backstory, which I suggest you go read and look up on, but he is an incredibly entertaining character, so you should spend as much time as you can looking him up because the game really doesn't do him justice. Now, the reason Darth Malgus made this list was because of his distinctive personality among other Sith. He was much more of a born leader, and he was considered to be somewhat of a frontline warrior. Now, not only did he utilize resources from all around him, he was able to control various races, including alien mercenaries, and of course managed to even manipulate the Voss people into joining him. And he deceived many of the Council for many years, as he actually plotted to betray them. In addition, Darth Malgus actually fared up pretty well against Satele Shan, and almost defeated her. And of course, we all know Satele Shan is one of the strongest Jedi in the galaxy. So for Darth Malgus to actually be a worthy adversary, obviously has earned him a place on this list. As a side note, Darth Malgus actually killed Satele Shan's master, Kao Sendarik.
Number 5.
Coming in at number 5 on our list today is probably a Sith you wouldn't expect. Now, of course, I'm referring to Darth Acina, now known as Empress Acina. Empress Acina was actually one of the last remaining members of the Dark Council after the Eternal Empire's invasion across the galaxy. Now, most of her counterparts were either killed by the Zakul, or of course have gone into hiding, ultimately leaving Empress Acina as the last remaining heir to the Emperor's throne. Originally, Darth Acina was first spotlighted in the game during the Seeds of Rage expansion, where the player had to basically go around the galaxy and collect these dread seeds and then of course bring them all together to destroy them. And this was of course the catalyst to the Jedi Masters campaign that was all to do with Oricon and of course those two operations. Taking us back to Darth Acina now, she was actually first spotlighted during the Dread Seed quest, where the player was sent to get the Seeds of Rage, which would later of course lead on to the Operations Dread Fortress and Dread Palace and everything to do with the Dread Masters. So she could actually be considered the catalyst to that campaign. Furthermore, she was chosen to be the new head of the Sphere of Technology, which is one of the 12 influences.
Number 4.
Taking 4th place as the runner-up is a very well-known Sith from the KOTOR game franchise. I'm of course referring to Darth Malak. Now, of course, I couldn't have everyone from SWTOR on this list, so I thought I'd broaden it out a little for the ending. Now, for those of you who didn't play KOTOR, Darth Malak and Darth Revan were of course two Sith that were sent by the Sith Emperor to find an ancient relic called the Starforge. The Starforge itself, in essence, was an ancient Rakatan space station, which was created as a superweapon, similarly to the Death Star, of course, from Episode 4 and 6. Now, the reason Malak actually made this list is because he is a rather ballsy Sith Lord, for lack of better words. Now, to justify this statement, Darth Malak is actually notorious for having a specific mouth prosthetic. Darth Malak actually obtained this prosthetic by basically saying Revan, his master, was too soft. Revan, in response, cut off his jaw. In response, Darth Malak decided to blow up Revan's flagship. Revan then forgot who he was, and that started the original KOTOR franchise. So ultimately, the reason Darth Malak is on this list is because he blew up his own master, destroying his own flagship and then basically just purging everything that there was of Revan. Of course, it's very common for the apprentice to overthrow the master in Sith lore, so this was obviously to be expected, but overall it was just a very ballsy move, and the fact that he then claimed the title of Dark Lord of the Sith once Revan was defeated just goes to show that you should never mess with Malak.
Number 3.
Taking the bronze medal on our list today is one of my all-time favourite Sith Lords from the Old Republic era. Of course, I'm referring to Darth Bane. Now, Darth Bane is the founder of the Rule of Two, which is the rule that follows through Star Wars for a millennia. It basically incorporates every Sith having to have a master who is supposed to be the sole embodiment of the dark side of the Force, and then the apprentice who is supposed to be hungry for that power. So the idea is no Sith should ever have two apprentices. Now, the reason that Darth Bane has made number 3 on this list is primarily because the Rule of Two was just so bloody effective. Ultimately, it allowed the Sith to stay into hiding because there were only ever 2 Sith at once, and if a Sith were to fall, the other one would take their place and recruit a new apprentice, or if an apprentice were to fall, the Sith Master would go out and find another apprentice, which of course resulted in the Sith sustaining a very long lifespan. Darth Bane as well was willing to sacrifice himself so that the Rule of Two would forever survive throughout Sith lore. His original intention was to recruit an apprentice who he knew would one day overthrow him, and his plan was basically to allow this apprentice to kill him in cold blood. Darth Bane, of course, was then killed at the hands of his apprentice as he intended, and this then led to the Rule of Two basically ruling over the Sith Empire in secret for generations. So arguably, it is fair to say that Darth Bane is the founder of the Way of the Sith.
Number 2.
Coming in at number 2 today is Darth Vitiate, formerly known as the Emperor, and now known as Valkorion. The Emperor is arguably one of the strongest Sith in the galaxy. Not only did he manipulate both Revan and Malak, but he also started the foundations for the new Sith Empire, as well as rule over the original Zakuulian Empire, of course we know today as the Eternal Empire. Vitiate also managed to completely decimate the planet of Zyos using a move called Force Destruction. Now, Force Destruction is one of the strongest moves in the Sith arsenal, and of course is actually one of the hardest moves to master, only being performed a handful of times in Sith lore. In addition to this tremendous amount of power, he also has the ability to mind control millions of people at the same time. Before Zyos, of course, was destroyed, so post-destruction of Zyos, he controlled the entire population of the planet and encouraged all the Imperial troops to kill one another and slaughter thousands of citizens that were living on the planet of Zyos. So overall, I think it's fair to say Vitiate could be considered somewhat of a Mary Sue, but he does have his weaknesses and downfalls. Of course, he's a little bit soft for a Sith, and he has moments where he actually sides with the Outlander, who is the main protagonist of the KOTOR campaign, which is why he's number 2 on this list.
Number 1.
Coming in at number 1 is the legendary Darth Nihilus. Darth Nihilus is number 1 on this list purely because he obtained the title Ravager of Worlds. Now, he has the ability to do Force Destruction similarly to Valkorion, but overall, he actually is capable of also absorbing the life force and force energy of everyone on the planet that he decimates. Darth Nihilus over time began to use this ability too much and began to hunger for force energy, eventually leading to Nihilus's body becoming a useless husk of what it once was, and overall changing him as a person. Darth Nihilus is no longer the former human he was now sort of a force being, which eventually led to him abandoning his body and becoming a being that was partially his cloak and his mask. From then on out, Darth Nihilus basically roamed the galaxy, killing any Jedi he could and draining their life force, purely in attempt to feed his never-ending hunger. Overall, I feel Darth Nihilus is definitely worthy for first place on this list. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I really hope you agreed with my list. If not, feel free to leave in the comment section below who you'd put on this list. And if you get a second, feel free to head over to SWTOR Central's channel, where you can see the other half of this video, where I go over the top 8 Jedi characters in Star Wars: The Old Republic. And as always, you can hit subscribe to follow up on my weekly content, where I do top 10s, discussion videos, and of course the occasional Let's Play. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye guys.